All right, third page. And I have to tell you, I didn't want to talk through these problems because it's just factoring galore. So if you need to pause, there's nothing new in here except my shortcuts for factoring. Um, so if you need to pause to try to find how I factored that, it's right in here. But I'm just going to show you these answers here and not do much talking. I guess the only thing to remember here is for division, you're going to switch it to multiplication, but you have to flip the second fraction. So 4x minus 12 went up there in the numerator and it factored. But here's my answer here. It actually takes longer to find the answer in this chart below than it does to do the problem. If you need more time, factor or pause the video so you can see how I factored all of this stuff. I had a terrible eraser when I made a boo-boo. But I'm going to move onward. Here's another division. Don't forget to flip that over, which is what that is. But my answers kind of got squishy. Here's the answer to 20, and there's 21. Okay? And then the letters there if you're trying to do it with letters. So let's jump into these, which are yucky, but I like to factor. Now, these are a lot smaller in nature, so factor, and then we're going to try to find the answer down here below. And for a 75 and a 48, I think they have a 3 in common, and if 3 is not big enough, I'll go pull something out in a second here, but they each have an x in it. So a 3x pulled out from that guy would be 25x squared, and a 3x pulled out from that guy would be 16. And I don't think there's anything that 25 and 16 have in common, so that was the biggest thing we could pull out. And now we continue to factor that. This is just a binomial, which means our factored binomials are going to be identical. One's going to be a positive, and one's going to be a negative, but they're the same things, which is nice. That's why there's no middle term, because they canceled. So our 3 answers, we get a 0 because we've pulled an x out, and that has nothing to do with the 3, but because that x, we get a 0. That guy right there is negative 4/5, and the other one here is positive 4/5. So here's our 3 answers. So let's look for any zeros. Here's a 0, but no. Here's a 0. Oh, plus or minus 4/5. That's it right there. There's our 3 answers. So BE. All right, 23 has a typo. That shouldn't be there. I wonder where that came from. That should be a 0. Sorry about that. So if you're watching this video, you just got rewarded. Typo. How do you do typo? Typo. Sorry. So hopefully I'll put that there. That way if you're checking your answers, you can see it on the PDF. All right, let's factor out a 2. All those look even. They have an x. That's going to leave behind a 5x squared and a minus 42x and a plus 16 equals 0. Not what that was. And now we're going to factor this farther. 5x and an x. For a 16, we got a 1 and a 16 and a 2 and an 8 and a 4 and a 4. 4 and a 4 is not going to get me a 42. 8 and a 2. There it is. And what I did really fast is 5 times 8 is 40. 2 times 1 is 2. I can make a 42 with that, and that's what I kind of visualized as I wrote it. Both would have to be negative to get negative 42. And your 3 answers are, where's a good place to write it? Let's go up here. 0, 2/5, and an 8. 0, 2/5, and an 8. Let's see. I spot it right there. There's a 0, 2/5, and a negative 8. But yeah, BCD. BCD. All right. Onward. Solve the following completely. Again, factoring. Looks like we're going to take out a 4. 3x squared minus 2x and a minus 56. This 4 does nothing. It doesn't give us any other answers, so it's irrelevant. Watch out for thinking that 4 is part of answers. You'll notice some of the answers down here have some 4s just to try to trap you into thinking that 4 is part of the answer, which it's not. We're going to get 2 answers, and they come right from this fella. 3x and x. Let's see, a 1 and a 56, a 2 and a 28, not a 3. A 4 and a 14, not a 5, not a 6, not a 7, 7 and 8. Can't put multiples of 3 next to a 3, but we don't have any, so we got no shortcuts. 7 and 8, no. 8 and 7, no. 4 and 14, no. 14 and 4, there it is. 14 and 4. Here's what my brain did. It went, oh, that's 12, and that's 14. With a 12 and a 14, can we make a negative 2? Yes, we can if the 14 is negative. Make the 12 positive. In this case, it's the 4 times the 3. So our 2 answers are 14 thirds and negative 4. 14 over 3, negative 4. Let's see if we can go find that. 14 thirds and negative 4. Nah, it's the top one here. AE. AE. Onward. Everything on one side. Which side? To the left. Subtract x cubed from both sides. Subtract 36x squared from both sides. Add 5x. And that magically disappears. So that's all that's left. That's not bad. Oop, this is supposed to be cubed. Sorry. I think I said it, didn't write it. All right, what do these two things have in common? It looks like they have a 4 in common, and they have an x squared in common. So that's going to leave behind a 4x and a minus 9. And we're ready to solve. Since we pulled out an x, 0 is one of our answers. 4 has nothing to do with this problem. And then we set that part equal to 0, and you would get 9/4. So just the 2 answers here, 0 and 9/4. Close. A, B, C. A, B, C. Okay, I think I will pause that video and start another one. See you in a little bit.